The Battle of Olympus is one of the most exciting games for the NES. At its core, it's a side-scrolling action RPG with light Metroidvania elements, but put more simply, it feels like Zelda 2 with an ancient Greek setting. The game was published in North America by Broderbund, a company that brought us a handful of impressive NES games, including The Guardian Legend and the highly underrated Legacy of the Wizard. But Broderbund didn't develop this game, they were just the publisher. The Battle of Olympus was created by a small Japanese studio called Infinity. When I say that Infinity is a small studio, I'm not exaggerating. When they made Battle of Olympus, there were only 3 employees. Programmer Yukio Horimoto, graphics and story designer Reiko Oshida, and music composer Kazuo Sawa. It wouldn't be surprising if you've never heard of Infinity. Very few of their games were ever released in North America or Europe. The only other NES game they worked on that got an English language release was the NES port of Ultima 4, Quest of the Avatar. The Battle of Olympus was Infinity's first entirely original game, and their first international release. Horimoto was inspired by Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link, and admits to imitating the player's attacking, jumping, and ducking motions from that game. There are many other similarities, including some enemies, the ability to shoot beams from a sword, a shadowy final boss, and they even gave the player's character a green outfit. Despite the similarities, Battle of Olympus does a lot more than just copy Nintendo's game. Instead of Zelda 2's overworld, Olympus's locations are interconnected, more like Faxanadu or Simon's Quest. There are no experience points or leveling up, just better weapons and equipment for the player to find or buy. The story of the game is a loose retelling of the Greek legend of Orpheus and Eurydice, although the game's instruction manual refers to Eurydice as Helene, and when you actually play the game, you can name the characters whatever you want. Just as in the legend, Orpheus has sworn his eternal love to Helene, but she is bitten by a venomous snake and dies. Saddened by his loss, Orpheus fell into a deep depression until Aphrodite, the goddess of love, revealed that Helene was not truly dead, but instead imprisoned by Hades, the god of the underworld. Orpheus must seek the help of the gods as he battles across ancient Greece in search of the lost fragments of love which can open the doors to the underworld and return him to his beloved. Horimoto and Oshida worked together on the story of the game, and it was strongly influenced by their own lives. The two had just recently gotten married. The music for the game features some impressive tracks, and was one of Kazuo Sawa's earliest works. He would go on to compose the music for the Kunio-kun games, including Super Dodgeball, River City Ransom, and even more recently, River City Girls. Sadly, the Battle of Olympus did not sell well when it released in North America in 1989. The poor sales killed future hopes of developing original games for the studio, and they changed their focus to working on porting Western computer games like Doom for the Japanese market. While most small studios from the NES days failed to survive the transition to 3D games in the 1990s, Infinity managed to evolve with the business and still exists today. Horimoto is the president, and the company now employs around 100 people, but he still likes to be hands-on and involved with the programming. In modern times, the Battle of Olympus has become a cult classic, but it rarely appears on lists of the top NES games. It didn't make it onto IGN's list of the best NES games of all time, but real fans of the system know that this game is special. Modern players that attempt the Battle of Olympus will still have to deal with all of the challenges the NES is notorious for. To obtain essential items, you'll spend a lot of time grinding for olives, the currency of the game. The enemies are vicious and can knock you into instant death pits. And even the game's programmer, Horimoto, has gone on record saying that he made this game too hard. But what if I told you an easy way to grind for the olives you need quickly? What if I told you a secret trick to skip collecting the first 2 Fragments of Love? And what if I told you how to beat all of the game's challenging bosses? Even Hades himself? Well, on today's episode of You Can Beat Video Games, we'll learn all of that and more. If you're new to the channel, we're doing deep dives on retro video games and giving you the professional strategies that can be used by the casual gamer. Please make sure to subscribe and click the bell for notifications so you don't miss any new videos. Let's get started. Alright, the Battle of Olympus. As we get started here, we'll choose a new game, and then we will enter the name for both the hero and the heroine of the story. So you can name them whatever you want, but you do only get 6 spaces, so think about what you want to use to name those characters. We start out in Arcadia, and at the very beginning there are some houses that you can go in, but they're not very important. There's just some people in there that'll give you some basic information. What we actually need to do in the beginning of the game is visit with Zeus. Until we speak with Zeus, the other gods won't help us. He is the leader of the gods according to mythology, although I don't think the other gods really like to think of him as a leader, but he is. He has some authority over them, and so by speaking with Zeus, we will be able to engage with the other gods whenever we meet with them. So just keep making your way to the right. Those worms will just fall behind you if you hold to the right as you walk. We're going to come to a small white building. That's where you want to go inside. So press up to enter the building and pass through to the right side door. Here we're going to encounter a bull. You just want to kind of stand your ground, and whenever the bull charges towards you, hit it with the club and it will bounce backwards. In mythology, Zeus actually transformed himself into a bull to be able to get with a girl. I think if that bull was actually Zeus transformed, it'd probably be a lot more difficult to defeat. You have to actually kneel down and press the B button to speak with the gods in this game, which feels appropriate and is a nice touch. The first time you speak with Zeus, he'll just give you a message, but the second time he'll give you the password. If you want to use the passwords in this game, I recommend taking a picture of it with your phone. They use upper and lowercase letters, and it can be very difficult to write the passwords down correctly if you're not super careful. Once we've met with Zeus, we can move on to our next location, so enter the bottom door of this house, and it's time to go to Attica. Unlike the forests of Arcadia, Attica is more of a town. It also houses the Temple of Athena, so that's where we're going to go next. Make your way down the stairs and head over to the right. Although this is a town, there are still enemies here, so take out the satyrs that come in your way with your club, and watch out for that purple little bear enemy. He can throw a spear at you, and the shield that we start the game with doesn't actually do anything. It must be made out of cardboard or something because it's simply decorative and has no purpose. You will not be able to block projectiles with it. Once you come through here though, we will be making our way to the Temple of Athena, and Athena will be able to help us out with a proper shield. Just continue to make your way to the right. The temple will be at the very end. These little scorpion guys will definitely get in your way if you try to jump over them, so you want to crouch down and attack them. And if we come into this house, this guy Kelios tells us that he can help us out if we can prove to him that we are who we say we are. Also, if you kneel down by this fountain, I'm going to take some damage so you can see what it does. It will actually refill your health. Later on, whenever we have the Trojan Pitcher, we can also fill up our water there. Pretty nice. And here we are. This is Athena. Kneel down for her, and she will give you the shield. Now remember, if we want to get our password, we'll need to kneel again. If you die in this game and choose the retry option, you'll come back to the last place where you got the password, and you won't lose any of the olives that you have. So whenever you got the password, you'll come back with the exact same amount of equipment and olives that you had whenever you received that password. If you choose continue, you'll come back to the nearest checkpoint, but you'll lose half of your olives. So if you're holding a bunch of olives, it's very important to get your password when you meet with the gods. If you just talk to them the first time and they give you an item or a special message, but they don't give you the password, whenever you choose retry, you will not go back to that god. You'll go back to the last time you actually got the password. So that's why it's important to kneel down for a second time and get the password with these gods. It will give us a little bit of protection if we die and we're carrying a lot of olives. At this point in the game, there's nothing that we need to buy, but it's still good to know. If you enter this building, we'll meet up with a woman whose child was kidnapped, and that's the next thing that we need to do. We have to fight a boss, the Lamia. The Lamia will shoot arrows at you, and your new shield can actually block them, but it's inconsistent. If you're moving or the arrows don't hit you in just the right spot, you won't block them. So your best bet is to try to jump over whenever she pulls an arrow back and attack her rapidly. Once she's defeated, a door will open up, and if we talk to the child inside, we can return to his mother for a reward. The reward that we'll get for saving the child is a very good one. It's a new weapon called the Staff of Fennel. The Staff of Fennel deals twice as much damage as our club, so once we get it, we'll never need to use that club again. It will be completely obsolete. You'll need to duck down to pick up the staff, and make sure to pause the game and equip it, or else you'll still be using the club. Once you have the Staff of Fennel, that's all we need to do here in Attica for now, so climb up the stairs, and let's return to Arcadia. The Staff of Fennel is a nice upgrade to our club, but it actually has a secret power. We'll be able to unlock the ability for it to shoot fireballs, but first we need to meet up with Prometheus, and he's in a different area of Greece called Argolis. To reach Argolis, we'll need to go back to Arcadia, so that's why we're heading there now. Once we get into Arcadia, we're going to head far to the left. So just make your way over. If the worms fall in front of you, you can try to hit them and collect any drops that they leave, like the olives. But if you just move fast enough, they'll just continue to drop behind you and you won't have to deal with them at all. Just head over to the left, and whenever we get to the next screen, we're going to go inside the tree there. So head inside the tree. That woman tells you that if you don't have the Staff of Fennel, you're probably not powerful enough to move forward, but we do have it, so that's why we're going to go through and head over to the left. All the way to the left, we'll find a small house, and whenever we enter the door there, that's going to take us to Argolis. So go all the way to the left, and there it is. Argolis has a pretty cool sunset background, and there are a few caves here that we can enter, but they just have people that will give you tips. But over here, there are 2 caves we can enter, and we want to head into the one on the left first. Watch out for that snake, he'll jump right at you. And the bats here are relentless. Sometimes they come down slow and you can duck under them, but sometimes they come down fast and will go right towards your position. In any case, whenever you're jumping over a pit, you need to be very careful of the bats that might fly down and hit you, or they could knock you back and you'll drop right in. Over here we'll meet up with a boss, the Nemean Lion. The Nemean Lion will pounce on you whenever you get close, and you want to try to hit it in the face with your staff, but if it gets you the first time, just turn around and hit it when it comes back. It only takes 3 hits from your Staff of Fennel to defeat it. Once defeated, you'll meet up with Prometheus, and he will give you the ability to shoot flames from your staff. To shoot the flames, all you need to do is press up and B, and it doesn't cost you anything to do it, so if you see an enemy far away that you want to hit, just launch a fireball at them. It'll even slide across the ground a bit, which is nice for hitting enemies that are in an awkward spot. Make your way back to the left, and we need to exit this cave and get out of here. So head all the way over, go back through the door. We are now going to go into the cave on the right side. The god in charge of Argolis is Hermes, and his temple is located within this cavern. With our Staff of Fennel, we can be very careful and attack the snakes from far away. And as usual, we need to watch out for the bats whenever we're crossing over these instant death pits. Some of them aren't actually instant death though, and will take you to other areas where there are snakes to fight. For now, we want to stay out of there and just make our way to this door. This is it. This is the Temple of Hermes. Unfortunately, he's not here. He was summoned by Zeus, but now that we've spoken to that guy, we will be able to meet up with Hermes at Zeus's temple. Now we just want to head back to the left, and before we go, there is a spring here that we can use to refill our health, so if you drop down into this specific pit, don't drop into the other ones, most of them are instant death. There are some snakes down here, and if you kneel by this waterfall, it'll refill your health. Then just make your way to the right, and that will take us back to the beginning of the cave. So enter this door, and head over to the left, and that's the main area of Argolis again, and from here we can return to Arcadia. So head back up through the door that we came in through, and we'll be back to the main area. There is another optional item that we want to get from Argolis, but before we do that, we want to meet up with Hermes, and according to the guy at his temple, he was off visiting with Zeus. So we're going to go to Zeus's temple, but whenever we get there, we're actually going to meet up with Hermes, and he's going to give us his sandals. The sandals of Hermes are pretty awesome. They will allow us to jump higher, but that's not all they do. You can actually hold the jump button in, and you'll invert yourself, and actually be able to walk on the ceiling. So this is quite a good upgrade, and it doesn't cost us any olives to buy. This is something that we want to get right away. So just make your way across Arcadia, and look for that little white house. That'll take us over to Zeus's temple. And it's going to be a good idea to get our password after we talk to Hermes and get the sandals, because we're currently holding 24 olives, and we're going to need to build up to 50 to get the next item that we need, and if we were to die and have to use the continue option, we would lose half of the olives that we have right now. So the best thing to do would be to get the password, then if we die we can choose the retry option, and we'll come back here with the 24 olives that we have. So we have the sandals of Hermes, we got our password, and now it's time to grind for olives. The item that we need is called the Ambrosia, and it costs 50 olives to buy. This is an optional item, but it's sort of like the heart containers in The Legend of Zelda. It's going to raise our maximum health, and the first Ambrosia we get is actually going to raise our maximum health by 50%. So although it's optional, it's something that we definitely want. The best place in the game to grind for olives is on the screen between Attica and Argolis, so this one right here. The way to do it is we want to get 6 of these worms to cluster in the same area, and you can see what those sandals of Hermes do. Pretty awesome, right? So get 6 of them on the screen at the same time, and you want to cluster them in the area to the right of that large tree with the door in it. If you cluster them in that area, the one right here where I'm standing now, whenever you kill them all, we can use that door as a landmark. So this is a good spot to do it. So take out all the worms, and you'll need to crouch down to hit them, but they actually have to jump or you won't be damaging them. Then you want to slowly walk across this door by just tapping to the left. And when you turn back, a big cluster of worms will fall from the sky. And then if you walk about 2 trees right and turn to the left, another big cluster will come down. And you can do that again, or you can walk back to the door and slowly walk across it again, and another cluster will appear to the right. So you'll want to combine those two strategies. Whenever you get too far to the right, then come all the way back to the left and slowly walk across the door. And I'm going to speed this up here in a minute, but you can kind of see how it works. You turn back, you try to hit as many of them as you can while you're in the air. If you're good, you can take out almost all of them in the air. But even if you're not good at it, keeping them clustered together like this will still allow you to damage a lot of enemies more quickly. This is the best way, and you want to just keep working on this until you have close to 50 olives. If you're like 1 or 2 short, we can pick them up on the way. But this is all you need to do. Keep them clustered together, and you will be able to get those olives fairly quickly. There's actually no place in the game that's easier to collect olives. This is where we're going to be grinding for olives for the rest of the game. Now I have 51 right now, and if we were to die, we would lose half of those, or would have to go back to the 24 that we had whenever we last got the password. So for safety, we're going to go and meet up with Zeus. We're going to talk to him and get our password. There are definitely instant death pits in Argolis we could fall into, and if we did and lost half of our olives, that would be pretty annoying. So it just makes sense. Take a few seconds, kneel down before Zeus, and then if we were to die on the way to collecting the Ambrosia, we can just choose the retry option, and we'll come back here with 51 olives, no problem. And actually, if you're low on health right now, you might just want to die on the bull after you get the password. Whenever you choose retry, you'll come back with completely full health. That's a good way that you can fill up your health anytime you meet with a god and get your password. You could simply die on the next screen, choose retry, and you'll come back exactly as you were, but with full health. Pretty nice. We're just making our way back to Argolis now, so head all the way to the left and we're going to enter the first tree on this screen. Head through to the right, and then go all the way to the left and enter the small house that you find there, and that'll take us to Argolis. The area that we need to go to is pretty close to where the Temple of Hermes is, so we're going to head that way once we get into Argolis. Alright, here we go. Once we get in here, we're going to make our way all the way to the right and enter the right cave. Then we're just going to keep moving to the right, watching out for the snakes and the bats that try to attack us. And you don't want to fall in any of these pits, although the Ambrosia itself is actually located down one of those pits. So we need to get to Hermes' Temple first. It makes sense to get the password from him, just in case we were to die, we'll be that much closer to where we need to go. So carefully make your way across here, go up into the door. We'll get our password from Hermes, and then we're going to drop into the pit directly to the left of this. Now this is a very dangerous area. These enemies are called salamanders, and they are immune to fire. So don't try to kill them with the fire from your staff of Fennel. We just want to go into this room and meet this old woman, and we'll give her the 50 olives, and she gives us this Ambrosia. So just press down to collect it, and now we have 4 more units of health. Pretty awesome. It also will fill you up to the max. Once you have it, make your way to the right and get out of here. We'll need to come back here later if we want to get the Salamander Shield, but for now, we just want to make our way back to Arcadia. Whenever we make it back to Arcadia, we need to do another olive grind, but this one is not optional. We need 60 olives to buy a mandatory item, and I'm very excited to pronounce the name of this item correctly for the first time on this channel. It's the Ocarina. We're looking for the tree trunk with the door in it, all the way to the right. That will take us back to the main part of Arcadia. And once we get in here and go on through, we're going to go 1 screen to the right, and this is the one where we want to do the olive grind. So you want to collect all 6 worms on the screen, and you want them to converge in the area to the right of that door in the tree trunk. So just build them up over here. We only have 5 right now, we need the 6th one. There it is. And once they're all together, we want to bring them all down to the ground and destroy them. The worms are kind of annoying to attack because you can only hit them when they're jumping, but you can use the fire from the Staff of Fennel. That can hit them even when they're not jumping. So take out all the worms, and then remember we're going to go back to the tree trunk with the door in it, and just slowly tap left to slowly walk past it, and that will cause a cluster to appear to the right. And then once you take out that cluster, just go about 2 trees to the right and turn back to the left, and you'll see another cluster. And I'm speeding this up because it takes a while, but there is a little quirk to this grind that I need to bring to your attention here. If you collect more than 50 olives in a single grind, the game will start to act like it ran out of olives or something, and will begin to give them to you very infrequently. So whenever you've collected maybe 40 some, it's a good idea to just go over to Attica, enter it, and exit it again, come back here to Arcadia, and then recluster the worms together and get the rest of the olives that you need. So right now I have about 49, that's close, we're kind of pushing it, but it happens somewhere between collecting 50 and 60 olives. They'll just start to dry up. If you just go into Attica and come back to Arcadia, it will reset the whole system, and the olives will start dropping again. So that's important to know. You don't want to try to collect more than 50 in one round. Cluster them all together again, and we'll get the last few olives that we need. Then we're going to go and save with Zeus again. We have a lot of olives now, and there's actually a number of things that we need to do before we actually spend them. So there's a good chance that we could die and need to use that retry option. Don't forget to get the password this time. It's very important. Go all the way to the right, past this entrance, and we'll pop in on Zeus and see what's going on with him. We can also refill our health here. If you're low on health, just get the password, then immediately die. You can die on the bowl pretty quickly, and then choose the retry option, and you'll come back with full health. So that's a good way to fill up your health. And don't forget to not use the continue option whenever you're holding a lot of olives, or you will lose half of those olives. Now, if you collected a lot of important items or something like that since you last saved, you may have to use continue, because that will take you to the most recent checkpoint, whereas the retry option, you'll lose everything that you found since the last time you got the password. So that's the risk that you run. In any case, we want to go all the way to the right here and through this door, and that will take us to a new area, Peloponnesius. You can actually get stuck in that purple spiderweb and you'll have to maneuver your way out, so the best way to deal with it is to hit it with a fireball from the Staff of Fennel. Peloponnesius is a bit of a maze, but if you follow my instructions, you'll be totally fine. Take the door on the far right of the first area, and then burn the spiderweb to your left, and take the second door that you see. So go through here. This will take you to a red forest. In the red forest, you want to go through that first spiderweb, and take the first door on the right. This is the Temple of Apollo. Apollo will give us his harp, although it's actually a lyre. I'm sure that's just an issue with the translation. In any case, we can use the harp to summon a Pegasus, which will be very handy, and we'll also need it for defeating a boss later. So it's very important to have, and don't forget to get your password before you leave there. Once you get out, go all the way to the left of the red tree area and enter the door. And then we're going to make our way to the right in this area. We're looking for a spider web here. That's the landmark that will tell us where to go. You want to take the door to the left of the spider web. That's going to take us to this area. That green bush below is a mass of thorns, and if you fall into it, you'll take damage, so try to avoid it. And the brown thorns can actually be burned with your Staff of Fennel, so take them out and move through the door all the way on the left. This area looks a bit different and has some bubbles that certainly remind me of Zelda 2. Head over to the left here. At the far end of this, we're going to fight another boss, the Hydra. And here it is. To defeat the Hydra, you'll see where it's going to come out of the water. It makes a little fizz there. So you want to position yourself slightly to the right of that so that you can hit it right as it bounces out of the water. You want to avoid fighting the Hydra from the right side, because then if it were to knock you back, you could end up falling in the water. Always be facing to the left whenever you're trying to fight the Hydra. That way the knockback won't kill you, you'll just take some damage if you get hit. Once you defeat enough Hydras, it will be destroyed, and you'll be able to jump over the water and collect the sword. The sword deals 50% more damage than the Staff of Fennel, and 3 times as much damage as the club, so we're going to be very happy to have it. Beyond that, there are some bosses that you just can't damage with wooden weapons, like the Cyclops that's coming up soon, so we do need the sword to move forward in the game. It does not, however, shoot fireballs, so we still will have a use for the Staff of Fennel occasionally. In any case, make sure to equip the sword and make your way back the way that we came. Once we get out of the room with the thorns, we're going to head to the left, although you may want to take a quick jump to the right to get up on the ceiling, and we're going to head to the next to last door. You'll know you're in the right door whenever you see an old lady who will tell you that the crows told her there was something in the trees. And there she is. In the next area, we're going to find out what that clue meant. If we climb up into these trees and attack the tree trunk on the left, we will get a free Ambrosia. Pretty nice. The second Ambrosia will bring our total health up to 16 and will fill us up to the max, which is nice because we're about to fight a boss, the Cyclops. I like to attack the Cyclops when it's on this step. You just need to jump up and hit it in the eye with your sword, and it only takes a few hits to take it out. Once the Cyclops is defeated, make your way through the door on the left to Laconia. Laconia is the most dangerous area we've been to yet. If you strike that first pillar, it will open up a pit trap which can drop you down below, and you need to prioritize avoiding the birds. They can deal you 4 damage per hit. The next thing we need to get is the Trojan Pitcher, which if you strike this pillar right here, it'll drop out of the sky. That can be filled with water, which can refill our health entirely. If we strike this pillar, it'll open up a pit trap, but we want to go down into this one. This will take us to the passage that leads to Poseidon's Temple. This room is dark, but if we use our Staff of Fennel, we can light it up with a ball of fire. And here it is. This is Poseidon. Poseidon will give us his ocarina, but only if we give him 60 olives first. Now, I understand why the old lady that sold us the Ambrosia needs olives. Maybe she's going to eat them, or maybe she'll use them to barter with the other people of ancient Greece. But what does a god need olives for? Is he trying to make the world's best muffalotto sandwich? In any case, we don't have a choice. Give him the 60 olives and get the ocarina. We will need it to be able to summon a dolphin, which can take us across the sea. There are a few more things in Laconia that we want to find, and the next one is a free Ambrosia. So yeah, we definitely want that. Make your way all the way to the bottom right corner. You'll want to enter the door that you find there, and inside there will be another one of those dark rooms, so you're going to need to use the Staff of Fennel to light it up. There's actually a pit right in front of you, so be careful. Make sure to switch back to the sword, because we will need to fight another Cyclops boss. This one's a little harder than the previous one. You want to pin him against the wall on the right, and try to jump attack the eye while avoiding the rocks. Once he's defeated, you'll get that Ambrosia, and behind him in the door, you'll find another Spring of Recovery, which can fill up our Trojan Pitcher. We'll need to light the room up again with the Staff of Fennel, and once we have that Ambrosia, we'll be able to go back through the door on the left, and there's one more thing here in Laconia that we need to get, but we'll need to cross the sea to get it. Skip over the first stairway and make your way to the left. You're going to take the next set of stairs that you see. Those will take you back up to the top. We're going to go all the way back over to where we found that Trojan Pitcher, and at the end there, if we play the ocarina, a dolphin will pop out and we can ride him across the sea. It's kind of interesting that in this game we play several instruments. In the actual legend of Orpheus, Orpheus is known for being a musician, so it actually makes a lot of sense. Head all the way to the right, watch out for the monkeys and the scorpions, but especially the birds. The birds are the ones that will do you the most damage. And here is where we can use the ocarina. You'll press select to use it. To get the next item, we're going to have to fight 2 more bosses. The first one is the Siren, although the Siren looks a lot more like a harpy. And this is where it is. You'll want to use your harp and immediately play it here. That will cause the Siren boss to just kind of flap around in one spot, and she won't be able to use her Siren song against you. Entering this room, this is a dark room, and there's another boss in here, the Griet sisters. This is my strategy for beating them. You want to crouch down and face right over here, then jump over, wait for them to appear, jump behind and attack, and then come back to this position. From this position, you can reflect their shots, and you can get them to all cluster right in that spot again where you can easily hit them. If you get hit here by some of their magic, you also won't get knocked into the pit, so that's why I like to stand on this side of the pit and face right. Just keep doing it. There's actually several of them that you need to kill, and whenever they're defeated, they'll drop the Eye of Griet. The Eye is a very useful item that we'll need to use to open up some hidden doors in the game. Once you have it, we finally have everything that we need from Laconia, and it's time to get out of here. If we head back to the Sun Pillar, we can play our harp and summon Pegasus. You can only summon Pegasus at a Sun Pillar. You don't get to determine where Pegasus takes you. Each Sun Pillar will take you to a fixed location, and this takes us back to the very beginning of the game. Make your way to the right once you get back to Arcadia. It's kind of nice to be back in a familiar location. Back here in Arcadia, we're going to make our way to Argolis. Inside the caves of Argolis is the first place where we're going to use that Eye of Griet. Make your way to the left, and look for the little house that will lead us back to Argolis. Go past the big house, and the little house will be on the far left. Alright, here we go. Make your way to the caves on the right, just as we always do when we come to Argolis. And we're going to go in the one on the left. This is the one where we met Prometheus before. And right here is where we need to use the eye, so select it and press select. And here is that hidden door. Now once we go through the hidden door, we want to head to the left and you want to stay on the top. So be careful of the bats and enter the door. If you don't want to jump over that single space platform, you can just walk over it. And whenever you talk to this nymph over here, she will give us the first Fragment of Love. Kind of strange, up until this point there wasn't much of a story. Now the game stops to deliver a bunch of story information. It seems that our girlfriend has been taken to Hades after she was killed by a snake. We need this Fragment of Love to prove that we are who we say we are. Wasn't there a guy near Athena's temple that asked us for proof of our identity? Well, now we have it. Once you have the first Fragment of Love, make your way back the way we came, and there's another one of those sun pillars here in Argolis. If we play our harp there, it will actually take us to Athena's temple in Attica, which is exactly where we wanted to go. Perfect. Don't forget that when you get there, if you kneel at the fountain, it will fill up your health, and it will fill up your Trojan Pitcher if it's empty. Convenient. We might as well get the password at this point. Let's stop into Athena's temple and see what's up with her. Alright, we got the password. Now make your way back. And we're going to head over to Helios's house. So that's the big house right over here to the left. So this guy will give you a key now that we have the first Fragment of Love. And we're going to need that key a little bit later. It will open up the path to the second Fragment of Love. So it's kind of the game's way of making sure that we get them all in order. Although I will show you a trick later that will allow us to skip getting both of the first two Fragments of Love. Head on out and make your way to the left. Attica is a fairly easy area to navigate. Just head up the stairs and climb out to Arcadia. Up the steps. Watch out for the satyrs. Sometimes they can hit you when you're on the stairways. All the way to the left, we'll find that entrance to Arcadia. The next area that we need to go to is actually accessed from Attica, but before we go there, you guessed it, we need to grind for olives again. This time we need to get 70. We need 70 to buy the Divine Sword, which is the best weapon in the game, so it is worth it. Also, we will need it. At some point you'll fight a Cerberus boss, which can regenerate its health, so being able to deal a lot of damage will be essential. Now's the time. Cluster together the worms, kill them all in this general area, and then we're going to do the slow walk in front of that door in the tree trunk so that they appear in a cluster on the right side. And then we'll start getting them to drop on the left side a bit, but I am going to speed this up. We have 15 already, and we need to get to 70, so we can probably do it in one round, but remember, whenever you get between 50 and 60 without leaving the area, the game will stop dropping the olives very frequently, so if you see that start to happen, you want to stop over into Attica and then come back and reset the clustering. Hopefully the olives will drop quickly for you. Sometimes it just seems like they won't come, and sometimes they're just coming all the time. It's very random. And you will get better over time at trying to kill the worms in the air. Having to hit them on the ground makes it a little bit harder. Although I'm using the sword here, it may be better to use the Staff of Fennel. No matter what weapon you use, it only takes one hit to defeat the worms. Having the ability to shoot fire might be an advantage. In any case, whenever you get almost 70 olives, we're going to head out of here. Try to get close. I have 69. Nice. We can get the last olive on the way. We do have a little bit of a walk before we get there. Once you have enough, make your way over to the right and head into Attica. To minimize risk, we are going to stop at Athena's temple and get the password from her. If you get low on health at any time while you're grinding for olives, or while you're trying to get back to Athena's temple, make sure to use your Trojan Pitcher. We're going to be able to refill it. There's no reason to not use it if your health gets low. You don't want to lose the olives that you just got. Head on through to the right. Take out any enemies that are in your way. And now we have the 70 olives we need, so that's good. We just want to make sure that we get the password so that if we do die on the way to the Divine Sword, and trust me, this next area is one of the most difficult ones in the game, there's lots of places where you can die, and you don't want to have to grind for those olives again. So this is the closest place to get your password. Make sure to take it before and use the retry option if you die to come back here and not lose any of your olives. And with that, we're going to head back out of the Athena Temple area. When we come out of the door into Attica proper, we're going to head over to the right this time. The right side of Attica is not an area that we've really explored before, and that's because we didn't have the ocarina before. You need the ocarina to wake up the rock monster, Gaia, and once he's awakened, we'll be able to fight him with our sword. Once he's defeated, we'll be able to move on to the next area, but that's what we have to do right now. This guy is actually a lot like the Cyclops monsters that we fought. We're going to use a similar strategy, but whenever we wake him up, you usually can get a few cheap hits on him right there. So I like to stand right next to him, play the ocarina, try to get a couple hits on his face, and if he drops down to the bottom, try to pin him against the right wall and keep attacking until he's gone. Once Gaia is defeated, head on through the door, and we'll be in Thaya. Thaya is a very difficult area, and once you go over to the left here, you may want to equip your Staff of Fennel so that you can defeat this monkey from above. The Staff of Fennel is also the only way to defeat those green pillbug enemies, as your sword will not reach low enough. Head over to the left and get under this overhang to help avoid the monkey, and this next monkey is difficult. I just like to walk right into him as I push to the left, because there is a spring of recovery down here in the bottom. Once you're all filled up, head out the door and up the stairs, being careful to avoid the birds. Remember, the birds deal 4 damage and are very dangerous. All the way at the top of the stairs, you want to make your way over to the left. Get up on here to avoid this monkey, and then continue to the left, and you can get underneath this next monkey by quickly moving under it. Once you get over into this door, you've made it to the Temple of Hephaestus. And this is where we will be able to spend our 70 olives and get that divine sword. Still not sure what this guy is going to do with the olives? Maybe he's going to have an olive eating contest with Poseidon. See, who can eat more faster? I don't know. In any case, we have the divine sword now, and we can get our password, although it's not that important. If we use the continue option at this point, we only have 4 olives, so we don't have a lot to lose. Before we go though, we should make our way to the right. There's one more item here that we'd like to collect. It's another free Ambrosia. So just jump across to the right, and it's going to be in that door down there. Just talk to this guy, and he'll give you the Ambrosia. Now we can actually just jump off a cliff and die here. If we choose the continue option, we'll still have our Ambrosia, and it'll take us right back to where we want to go, the beginning of this area. I like to step to the left to reset the birds here. That will make them easier to avoid. And let's try out that divine sword. It is way more powerful than the regular sword. You can also shoot a beam with it by pressing up and B, but that beam will damage you. So you take 1 damage every time you shoot the beam. You need to be careful about when you're actually going to use it. It still doesn't strike low enough to hit those pillbugs though, so you'll need to avoid them or hit them with fireballs from the Staff of Fennel. You'll want to be very careful of this monkey. He can easily knock you into a pit. And over here we'll fight a Centaur. This is where it may be useful to use that power of Argus, so hold up and B to shoot a beam from your sword. It only takes 4 to take out the Centaur, and you're likely to take more damage if you try to fight him otherwise. Up here you want to jump at the waterfall and hold up, and you'll enter a hidden door. Up in this hidden door, we can use the Staff of Fennel to remove the pill bugs, and we'll want to use our magic eye to reveal another hidden door. There it is, it's right behind that pill bug. Go inside, and if we have the key, which we do, we'll find another nymph who will give us the second Fragment of Love. Once we grab it, we'll see another message from our lady friend. And, it seems that she loves us so much and all that stuff. But what this second Fragment of Love actually does is it will open a barrier on the island of Crete. Behind that barrier, we'll be able to find the third Fragment of Love. Without it, the only way through that barrier is to use a trick. Now, if you take the door on the far right here, this will take us to the Garden of Hesperides. Jump over the shots from these flowers and attack them with your divine sword, and watch out for the dust that those butterflies drop on you. It can deal you damage. Over here we'll meet another boss, the Dragon Ladon. If you crouch down right where it starts to go up into the air and attack to the left, you'll be able to hit it and it won't be able to hit you back. Now, if you're missing the dragon when it's coming at you like this, just take a tiny step to the left and try again and keep doing that until you start hitting him. Even if he flies all the way over to the right, he will fly back and continue to hit into your sword, and whenever he's defeated, you can pick up the golden apple, which looks like it just refills your health to the max, but it actually reduces the amount of damage you take by 50%. The golden apple is an optional item, but it is an extremely useful one, and the game will be very difficult to finish without it. We can't get to the top door, so we'll just take the bottom door to get out, and make your way across the bottom of this cave, and enter the door on the far left. We should try to avoid that Centaur this time, or just hit him with our Power of Argus. We do have full health again after getting that apple, so that's nice. We're just going to head over to the left. We are looking for another one of those sun pillars, so that we can use our harp to summon Pegasus and get out of here. That sun pillar is going to be located right over here to the left. There it is. So equip your harp and press the select button, and we are out of here. This sun pillar will take us back to Laconia, and that's not really where we need to be right now, but conveniently it drops us off right by the Laconia sun pillar, so we can use our harp again to summon a Pegasus to take us back to Arcadia. Much better. The next area that we need to go to is the island of Crete. On that island, we'll find the Temple of Aries. If you've ever played the God of War games, you know that Aries is kind of a jerk, and he charges us 80 olives to get the upgrade that he holds, which is the Power Bracelet. The Power Bracelet is a technically optional item, but it doubles the amount of damage that we deal, so we definitely want it. Not only that, but it will allow us to use the power of Argus and be able to shoot beams from our divine sword without taking damage. So yeah, we absolutely want the Power Bracelet. Unfortunately, if you show up to the Temple of Aries and you don't have the 80 olives that you need to pay him, he'll be offended by you and he'll take away the sandals of Hermes. That's pretty messed up. You can actually get them back. You can go to the Temple of Hermes, you'll meet the guy there who will tell you that Hermes went to see Zeus, and then you can go back to Zeus's temple, and you will get the sandals back. But you don't want to have to do all that stuff, and you do need the sandals to finish the game, so just make sure that you farm the 80 olives before moving forward here. We're just fighting the worms in the clusters, using the Staff of Fennel this time in case we miss any as they fall. We could use the fire to take them out. We're up to 36. Not bad, not bad. It's actually a little known fact that in ancient Greece, olives didn't grow on plants, but were actually harvested from the bellies of worms. Keep taking out the worms. Remember that you don't want to try to collect more than 50 olives in one trip, or the game may slow down on how many they give you at a time. So you can always just return to Attica at some point and then come back and recluster up the worms to collect the rest of the olives. Just keep going. Whenever you get close to 80, you can stop. I'm sure that we'll find an olive or two on the way over. Very close now, 66. Alright. This would probably be enough for a divine sword now, but we need 79. Okay, that's good. And now we're going to head over to the right. The best way to get to Crete is to go through Laconia, but to get to Laconia, before we had to go through that whole forest and all that stuff, there's an easier way. We can just go to the Sun Pillar in Thia, use the harp there, and that'll take us back to Laconia. Very nice. Before we get there, we can stop over at Athena's temple. We're holding a whole bunch of olives now, and we don't want to die on the way before we get our upgrade. So we can get the password from her, and we can also fill up our health and our Trojan Pitcher at the fountain right outside of her temple. So that's a very convenient way of doing things. Head over to the right. Whenever you get to the fountain, don't forget that you need to kneel down to be able to use it. Damage is kind of meaningless over here, so I'm being a bit reckless. We're just going to fill up anyway, who cares? And then head over through the door. Make sure to kneel down to get the password when you're in here. If you don't get the password, you won't be able to retry with all 80 olives. So that's just some safety in case we die. You remember how to get back to Thia. We just need to go out of this area and head to the right, and we're going to go to the door behind Gaia, which we don't have to fight again. He's gone now. So we're just going to head over to the left. You can just jump over these satyrs sometimes. It's not that hard to do. Head through the door, and when you get to the other side, head over to the right. Stay up on the top so that you can get to the door. And then just pop on in there, and we will be off to Thia. In Thia, we need to head to the right, so go up the stairs. You can go to the left to avoid the birds more easily, and then head back to the right. Take out these birds, and then make your way to the next platform. Be careful of the monkey. And there it is. We'll take the Pegasus, and we'll be in Laconia. In here, we just need to head over to the right. We're going to the spot where we fought the Siren, so use your ocarina to summon the dolphin. You want to make sure that you land on the dolphin and not just walk off the edge. If you just walk off the edge instead of jumping, you may end up in the water and die. That's happened to me before. Head over to the right. We're going to skip by the door where the Siren was and use our ocarina again at the water on the other side. And here we are. We've made it to the island of Crete. Now, Crete is known for being a maze, and that is represented here in the game. Once you dismount your dolphin, head over to the right, and you want to jump over this enemy and quickly move through the door. Head on through the door on the right, and what we want to do here is take the first door on the right, then we want to go over one screen, and on the next screen take the first door. Watch out for these Amazon enemies. Once you're in here, you just want to go all the way to the end, Those guys remind me of Slimer from Ghostbusters. And this is it. This is the Temple of Aries. Remember, it's very important that you have at least 80 olives when you come here, or you shouldn't even talk to this guy. And now we have the power bracelet, and we can get our password, but we deal double damage now. Once we have the power bracelet, there still are a couple more things that we want to do here on Crete, so make your way through the door we came from, and if you head 2 doors to the right, we can find a Spring of Recovery, which can restore your health and refill your Trojan Pitcher if you need it. Always use that Trojan Pitcher whenever you get low on health. There will be plenty of opportunities to refill it. Head through this door to the purple area, and head through the first door on the left. That will take you to the red zone. In here we want to head to the right and go through the first door there, and that will take us to the green area. And from the green area we want to take the first door on the left, and that will take us to another exit from Crete. This exit leads to Argolis, so we'll play our ocarina and ride the dolphin across the sea. It's interesting that it takes us to Argolis, because that's actually where we need to go next if we want to grind for the items we need to get this next optional upgrade. The upgrade I'm talking about is the Salamander Shield, and it's the most expensive item in the entire game. We can go over here and talk to Hermes, and he'll give us the password, and then if we die in this area, we can always choose retry and we'll come back here. Drop down into this pit wherever we bought that first Ambrosia, and this is the Salamander Pit. In the Salamander Pit, we need to farm these enemies, and occasionally they'll drop a salamander skin. They don't drop them that frequently, so you'll need to kill a lot of these guys. That's why we wanted to get good weapons as well as the golden apple before coming down here. These enemies are very dangerous. You'll want to be able to kill them in a single hit. There it is, that's the salamander skin. That's what we're looking for. We need 20 of those, and I'm going to speed this up. If you forget how many you've picked up, on your inventory screen there will be a red snake icon with a number underneath, and that will tell you how many salamander skins you've collected. You want to get to 20. Also, make sure to pick up any olives that you find, because in addition to the 20 salamander skins, we also need 80 olives. So you're going to have to ask yourself, how badly do you want this shield? It's not actually that big of an upgrade. Your regular old Athena shield will be just as good in like 90% of situations. The only thing that the Salamander Shield helps with is it will block fire attacks. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot of enemies in the game that even use fire attacks, so you can probably get away without having it. On top of that, it's not like the shields work super consistently anyway, so whenever you have your 20 salamander skins, make your way out of there. But if you don't want to get this upgrade, I don't blame you for not getting it. It's a lot of work to grind up 80 olives and 20 salamander skins, and I'm just not sure that it's worth it. Right now we have 37 olives, so we have to go back to Arcadia and grind on those worms. Man, that didn't sound good. Well, we'll stop at Athena's temple first. If you did do the salamander grind, coming back to Athena's temple is a very good idea. There's a good chance that you may have needed to use your Trojan Pitcher. We will be able to fill that up here as well as fill up our health. And we're also sitting on a bunch of olives at this point, so it's a good time to get the password just in case something tragic would happen and we would die. Head on back to the left. We still need to get the other 41 olives, so we're going to make our way back to Arcadia and do our good old worm grind. Here's the good news though. Once we get enough olives to buy the Salamander Shield, We won't need olives for anything else for the rest of the game. There is an old lady at the very end that will sell us a health refill for 30 olives, but that's not really worth saving for. There's a lot of free health refills right in that same area, so it's not super necessary. Once we don't care about olives anymore, it doesn't matter if you die and use the continue option. You don't lose anything that matters. If you don't want to get the Salamander Shield, if that's not something that's a priority for you, well then you can stop worrying about olives now. Just use continue whenever you die. You don't have to worry about saving those things for anything. But for now, we're going to go over here into that screen between Argolis and Attica, keep those worms clustered together, and we can use our Staff of Fennel to attack them. It won't take too long to get the olives we need this time. We only needed about 40. So that should be a piece of cake, and the more times we grind for olives, the better we're going to get at it. If you can hit the worms when they're falling through the air instead of after they land on the ground, it is much, much faster. So once you get that timing down and can do that more consistently, that will help a lot. Once you have close to 80 olives, make your way back to the right and head through to Attica. Before we go back to Crete, which is where we need to go to buy the Salamander Shield, just to be extra safe, we are going to stop at Athena's Temple one more time, where we can fill up our health and our Trojan Pitcher at her fountain, and we can also get the password. So if some kind of disaster were to happen, if we get knocked off by a monkey whenever we're going through Thaya, if we try to jump on our dolphin in Laconia and miss and end up in the water, something bad like that, then at least we'll be able to use the retry option and come back with the same amount of olives we have whenever we get the password. We certainly don't want to have to grind for olives again. You won't lose your salamander skins though if you use the continue option. Any salamander skins that you've picked up will be saved and you'll be returned to the nearest checkpoint if you use continue. But we don't want to lose the olives, we are going to need them. So we need to stop over at Athena's place first. Make your way across and into the door. We can kneel down here and get that password. And then we'll head back. So you definitely remember the way to get back to Crete, right? We want to go through the door that was behind Gaia, and that will take us to Thaya, and then we simply have to make our way to the right in Thaya, where we will find one of those sun pillars. We can play our harp, and that will take us to Laconia, and we'll head right in Laconia, use the ocarina to go across the sea, go past where we fought the Siren, go across the sea again, and that will be Crete. So it's really that simple. So that's what we're going to do, head on up here through this door, and that'll take us to Thaya. Thaya is a dangerous area, so this is one of those spots where disasters can happen. Just be extra cautious, and make your way over to the right. You only need to get to that sun pillar so you can play the harp. Laconia is much easier now. Before we were taking 4 damage whenever the birds hit us, but now that we have the apple, well, they only deal us 2 damage, and we also have a good bit more health. So things are a bit easier here now. Use that ocarina and make your way across the ocean. Jump over any fish that attack you. Over here on the right side, we're just going to go straight across. Nothing really to see here. And use that ocarina again. Hi, dolphin friend. It's kind of surprising how many NES games have you riding on a dolphin. There's like Crystalis, the end of Star Tropics. I'm sure that there's more. Once we get into Crete, remember we are entering the maze again, So get past this blue guy and hurry through the door. To find Circe the Witch, the old lady who will make us the Salamander Shield, in the purple area we need to go one screen to the right and then take the second door. Once we get in there, it should take us to the red area, and we need to go 2 screens to the right and then take the first door. So 1 screen to the right, and then we'll go to the second screen and take the first door. This will take us to the orange area. We want to head to the first door that we see on the right, and here she is. She'll exchange 80 olives and 20 salamander skins, and now we'll get the Salamander Shield. Alright. Once we have the shield, you don't need to equip it, it works automatically, and if you take the first door on the right from Circe's chamber, and then head 2 doors to the right, we will enter a purple room where we'll find the electrical barrier that requires the second Fragment of Love to pass through. Behind it is the Minotaur. The Minotaur can only have 1 axe on the screen at a time, so if you jump right before he throws it, he'll throw it upwards, and then it will take a long time to get off the screen, so you'll have a good opportunity to attack him in the legs. Now, if you didn't have the first 2 Fragments of Love, if you come to this barrier and face to the left and get hit by an enemy, you can actually pass through it without having the first 2 Fragments of Love. It's actually possible to defeat the Minotaur here with minimal equipment, and you can get that 3rd fragment without ever collecting the first 2. The interesting thing about that is the game only checks to see if you have the 3rd fragment before you can go into the final area. So yeah, you can actually skip getting those first 2. Now, I certainly recommend that you do get the Divine Sword. You're going to need that to defeat the Cerberus boss that we'll have to fight in Tartarus, but otherwise, it's certainly possible to get through this point with just the regular sword, no golden apple, and no power bracelet. Although the Minotaur is very difficult to defeat without that good equipment. I certainly don't recommend that you do this if you aren't very good at fighting this boss, but if you're looking for a challenge, this is something fun to try. You'll have to be very careful about getting them to throw the axes upwards into the air, so that you'll have that opportunity to get multiple hits on his legs. And you want to really try to pin him against the back wall on the right. So you kind of hit him, jump back to the left, jump up in the air so that he throws the axe, and then get down in there and hit him in the legs. Now I am going to cut back to our normal run here. In this room we will meet the 3rd nymph and get the 3rd and final Fragment of Love. We find out that Tartarus is somewhere between Crete and Argolis, so that's actually a good clue. Before we go there, there is one other area that we should go to first. We now have everything that we need from Crete, so to get out of here, we need to go 1 screen to the right and take the first door. Then we need to go 1 screen to the left, and I'm going to use my Trojan Pitcher here. We're going to have an opportunity to refill it very soon anyway. So go 1 screen to the left and take the second door that you see there. Head on over. Second door. And that's going to take us to the exit of Crete. Before we go on to the final area, there is one more place that we should go to first. It's a small area known as Phrygia, and inside we will find an item called the Moon Pearl. The final boss of the game, Hades, is invisible. So until we get the Moon Pearl, we won't be able to see him when we're fighting him. It is possible to beat him without the Moon Pearl, but it's going to be very difficult, so I do recommend that we pick it up. Also, in Phyregia, we'll find the game's last Ambrosia, which will max out our hit points. So that might be worth the price of admission right there. How do we get to Phyregia, you may ask? Well, I'm about to show you that. The first thing we need to do is go to the Sun Pillar here in Laconia and play our harp. That'll take us back to Arcadia. But we're not going to be grinding for olives this time. Nah, we're done with all of that stuff. Instead, we're just going to head straight over to the right and try to go back to Attica. We're going to make a quick pit stop at Athena's temple so that we can get the password, but also fill up our health and our Trojan Pitcher. We certainly don't want to go into battle with an empty Trojan Pitcher. It's always good to have a full one on hand. Just make your way to the right and go in that building whenever you see it. That'll take us over to Attica. Just make your way underneath the worms and there it is. Once we get in here, we're going to go down the stairs just as we always do. Watch out for the satyrs, and don't be afraid to give them a shot of your power of Argus. Remember, we can use it as much as we want now. Head on over to the right and go inside the door. It is possible to shoot your power of Argus while crouching. It's just difficult to do. The way that you would do it is while you're crouching down, you press B to attack, and then you hold up just after you attack, and the bolt will come out below. It's possible to do if you practice a bit, but you won't need it to be able to finish the game. If you do want to try to fight Hades without the Moon Pearl, then being able to attack with the power of Argus while crouching will be essential, but we're going to get the Moon Pearl, so we won't need to do that. In any case, fill up your health, and then make your way back out. If you want to get the password, you can, but it's not that important now, because we don't really need to worry about continuing or retrying, since we don't need olives anymore. So if we just die, we're going to use the continue option. It's as simple as that. Head on over to the left, and we're going to go down below. We want to go back to the area where we fought that Lamia boss and found the missing child. So that's where we're headed. Head down here and all the way to the left, and you'll notice over here there is some water where we can play our ocarina and summon a dolphin. Nice. Head on over to the left, and that will take us to Phyregia. Make your way across the sea on your dolphin, and whenever you get to land, you're going to be attacked by a dark Pegasus. Although it's actually a pegacorn if we're being technical. Make your way underneath it and hurry to the right. You don't want to waste time fighting that guy. He's dangerous. Once you get inside, go all the way to the right and take this door. That will take you inside. This area is another maze, although it's a bit different than the one in Crete. Make sure to take out these snakes. They're even more dangerous than the salamanders. And here is the giant snake. Use your power of Argus to take out the giant snake, and this is the one enemy that shoots fireballs at you that you'll actually be happy you had the Salamander Shield to defend against. Make your way up these stairs, take out this gargoyle before you move forward, and then take out his two friends as well. Those guys can easily knock you off a platform and cause you a lot of trouble. Once they're defeated, head up this stairway, and head into this door. We're going to go down the stairs here, but first we want to wait for these snakes to fall into the pit. It will happen. Come on, snake. You don't want to deal with those guys. They can knock you into the pit themselves. Once they're gone, head down the stairs and jump over. And keep making your way to the left. And we're going to climb up these stairs. This is a spring of recovery. So we can fill up our health here, and if you needed to fill your Trojan Pitcher, it will be refilled. So don't be afraid to use your Trojan Pitcher before this point. There will be a refill ready for you. Once you're all filled up, go back through the door that we came in from, and this time we're going to head up the stairs. Be careful of the gargoyles though. They can't actually knock you off while you're on the stairs, so you are safe from knockback there. Head up these steps and take the door at the top. Once you come through the door, you'll be assaulted by another giant snake. Use your power of Argus to attack it at range. It'll only take 4 sword beams to take out the snake, and attacking it at range can be difficult to hit it just in the right spot, but it's much safer than getting up close and taking all those fireballs to the chin. Skip this door at the bottom of the stairs and take the next staircase down, then jump over the gap and enter the door. In this area there's some more gargoyles, so take them out before moving forward, and then head up the stairs. There will be another gargoyle here, and then there's going to be another one, so you want to get him to come over before you make this jump. Then jump over to the right, avoid the gargoyle over there, and then head down the stairs, where we will find another door that we need to enter. In this one, if we go up the stairs, we can head to where we'll find another Ambrosia. And this is the final one in the game, which will get us to max health. So head all the way up and go through this door, and talk to this lady. And there it is, the final Ambrosia. Once we have that Ambrosia, we're going to go back down the stairs that we came up, and this time we're going to go down to the bottom and take out that giant snake. This time we can actually hang out on the stairs, which can get us in the perfect position to hit him with our power of Argus. Hit him 4 times, and then move on through and skip the door, but take the stairway to the right. Carefully jump over and don't get hit by that snake, and go through the door on the far left. In here is another gargoyle, and then we can start making our ascent. Climb up these stairs, and at the very top is where we are going to find the last temple in the game, where we will be able to get the Moon Pearl. In here we will meet Artemis, who will give us the Moon Pearl. You'd think that Apollo would give us the Moon Pearl, but nah, it's Artemis. Make sure to grab it, and you can get your password if you want. And once you have the Moon Pearl, the fastest way to get out of here is to just die. So you can just quickly jump off and get killed, and then choose continue, don't choose retry, and then we can just sail our dolphin back into Attica and head on our way. We also get full health out of it. If you don't want to die there, you'll have to climb back down to the bottom, so that's something you can do, but this is a much faster and much safer way of getting to where you need to go. Once you're in Attica, make your way back to the top, climb up the stairs and avoid the satyrs. The entrance to Tartarus, which will lead us to the Palace of Hades, the final area in the game, is located in Argolis. So that's where we need to go next. We have to cut through Arcadia and make our way back to Argolis. This will be our last time going through Arcadia. We'll go across that area where we did all of that grinding for olives, and enter the tree trunk that leads to Argolis. So just make your way all the way to the left, watch out for the worms and the little bears, and of course we're looking for that tiny house at the very end that will lead us to Argolis. And there it is. One last time we'll cross through Argolis, past the setting sun. Take the door on the right side, and we're going to head over to where Hermes Temple is. Be careful that you don't fall into any pits. We're a lot more powerful now, and you can even attack that one snake through the wall with your power of Argus. Pretty nice. Keep making your way to the right. Take care to avoid the bats. Watch out for the snake. We can stop at Hermes' Temple if we want the password, but it's not necessary. And we'll find a shoreline over here, where if we use our ocarina, we can sail to Crete, but in between Argolis and Crete is where we will find that entrance to Tartarus. So just make your way over to the right, and you'll see it out in the middle of the water. There it is. If you don't have the third Fragment of Love, you can't come in here, and you want to make sure to take the left door the first 2 times, then the right door, and then the left door again. So left, left, right, left. If you do that wrong, you'll have to fight some unnecessary boss battles. This is Cerberus. The real Cerberus has 3 heads, but this one only has 2, and the thing you need to be careful of is once you remove the first head, if you don't attack it fast enough, that head will grow back. So be careful of that, and when you come through the door over here, we can enter this first door that we see on the right, and this nymph will refill our health. Carefully make your way to the right, avoiding the bats and the bubbles. And once you get all the way to the end, go through the door that's up in the tree there. This time we have to get up on the ceiling, and when you're up on the ceiling here, make sure to just tap the A button when you do a jump, because if you hold it in, you may actually fall off of the ceiling and end up dead. So take out that worm, and then get a little bit of momentum and get up on the ceiling, and then drop down into the door below. In this area, we'll need to walk across the ceiling again. Remember to just press and release the A button when you're crossing over that gap. Here you need a bit of momentum to make this jump, and you need a good bit of momentum to make this one. That jump is scary. If you hit that snake and hurry through and quickly jump over its tail, you can actually go through without fighting it, and you want to make sure you take the door on the top. Then head over through the door on the left, and make your way to the right. Take out these poltergeists that look like Slimer from the Ghostbusters, and then they won't knock you down from the higher platforms. So stay on the upper platforms here, and head over to the right. There's going to be a door that you need to access from up here. So you want the top door, not the bottom one. Watch out for that bat, and head through the top door. Stay on the top up here. If you go in this door in the middle, this nymph will actually refill your health. Very good. She also tells us that our beloved has been turned to stone by Hades. Well, I guess it wasn't enough that she died, they had to turn her to stone too. Once you get down here, you want to take that door on the left. There's just a nymph in the door on the right, and she doesn't have a health refill for us this time, just some information. Head all the way over to the left and through the door, and here it is, the Palace of Hades. Don't underestimate these gold snakes. They're actually pretty mean and take a decent number of hits. And this Lamia boss has more health than the one we fought earlier in the game, so you'll want to make sure to take her out before you move forward here. Use your power of Argus and just head all the way over to the right. Take out that gargoyle and then take the stairs upward. Once you get to the top of the stairs though, you want to go back to the left, but stay on the upper path this time. Cut across to the left. If you go inside this door, this is the woman that will sell us a health refill for 30 olives. Now, we don't have the 30 olives, but it's not that important. If you do have it, that's the last time you'll have an opportunity to spend olives in the game, so you might as well use it. Head up the stairs and make your way over to the right. Take out the gargoyles before proceeding, and you can just jump up on this platform and take the stairs up to the top row. From the top, you want to head over to the right, and stay on the top up here. And you're going to skip this stairway. Take out the gargoyle and just jump through it, and head over to the right. You will want to take this stairway upwards, so head up, and then climb up this stairway as well. At the top, you're going to be attacked by some gargoyles, so if you stay on the stairs, they won't be able to knock you backwards. Head over to the left, you'll be able to get up on this platform, make a pretty tricky jump there, and then head over to the right and take the stairs down. From here, there's some more gargoyle enemies and a few snakes. We want to get on the stairs heading downwards, and we're almost there now. Take out that gargoyle, watch out for the second one. You just need to get over that gap in the floor and enter the door. And there is Helene. And here is Hades. We've made it. Select your moon crystal and press select to use it. Pay attention to the shadows below so you can see where the boss is. And the trick is to crouch down and attack at his legs. This will cause Hades to jump backwards. Then if you position yourself right on the gap where the second block from the right meets the third, and just start attacking. So crouch right in this exact position. Hades will keep bouncing off of the wall and occasionally will land right in the path of your sword. He may be able to get you here if you're not careful, but it will be very difficult for him to hit you many times. And if you just get back in position and keep attacking him, use your Trojan Pitcher if you get low on health, eventually he will die, and that will be the end. That's it. We've done it. We've beaten Battle of Olympus. Just head over here and meet Helene, and we can sit back, relax, and enjoy the cheesy ending. Well, it seems that the power of love was able to lift the stone curse and return Helene to normal. This is much better than the ending of the original Greek legend, which definitely ended tragically. Instead of sadness here in the game, the two lovers are finally reunited and are able to enjoy a beautiful sunrise together. How nice. Well, I hope this video was able to help you finally beat the Battle of Olympus and bring peace back to the world of ancient Greece. If it did, make sure to give it a like and make sure to subscribe for more videos, because there will always be more evil gods for us to defeat, and that's why we'll be back again next week with another video game you can beat. Thanks for watching.